Welcome back to the Chicago Tomahawk. I'm Mike. I got my line mate Matt with me, and welcome to the new year, 2022. I never thought in a million years, man. Back in like 1995, I'd be saying, yeah, in 2022, I'm going to be podcasting. It's crazy. I hope everybody had a great Christmas season and a great New Year. We took down the Christmas stuff today, and it's time to get back at it. Blackhawks played the Predators, and they played the what else did they play, man?
They played the Flames yesterday.
The Flames yesterday. You know, it's kind of a similar tales, but it seems like the defense. I don't think that they're as into the game yesterday as they were the day before. Hawks lost to the Preds. We had a goalie carousal in that one. We had Colin Delia to start the game. He was horrible. Took him out. Put in Soderblom. Soderblom. Obviously, he needs some experience, but he looked better. And to be honest with you, he looked better yesterday as well. What did you think of Soderblom's performance, Matt?
Yeah, I've been hearing a lot about him in Rockford. I didn't get to see him when I went down there. I saw Delia play, which he was good. And this kid's big, and he stepped up against that. I believe it was a penalty shot. Can't be. It can't be good when it's your first game and you're going to face a penalty shot. And he stepped up and he made the save, and maybe he gave up a couple softies, but like you said, he's young and there's some promise there with him. As for Delia, I think, I was trying to be nice, tweeting out like, hey, let's support Delia, but I was, not right about that. He did not come to play. Giving up the first shot of the game is never a good thing. And then giving up the next shot, the poor guy was he was pretty much done, I thought, and I thought it was the right move for the coach to let him finish the period, and then pretty much send him right to Rockford after.
So, this is really interesting because it seems like Delia, whenever he comes in, he just gives up, a couple goals right away. Do you think that Delia needs like a string of starts, like a 4 or 5 game string of starts to get going to see where this guy really is? Or is this guy, a Rockford standout NHL bust?
Yeah, I think he's going to be a career AHL goalie. Nothing wrong with that. It's a great way to make a living still. I just don't think in the NHL, man, these guys, their shots are elite. I mean, Rockford, they're not the same, or not Rockford, but the AHL. It's not the same. But he just looked like just off that period. Like the preparation, I don't think was there for him. He wasn't ready. Sure, maybe it was like, hey, our goalies are out. You're going in, but you got to be ready. He's got some game experience too. And he just, he didn't show up, and it's never a good thing to give up that first shot. You want to start the game off making a save and build from that, and he didn't get a chance to do that.
Yeah, I think that I've seen enough of him to see what he is, man. I just don't see it there.
Yeah.
If like you said, playing in the AHL, it's making a good living, I guess that works out. But I would really like to see more of Soderblom because obviously, I don't think Fleury's going to be back next year. And if this kid moves up and plays with, Lankinen, I'd like to see a little bit more of him because, Matt, I mean, it's got to be difficult just coming in cold. The guy who's supposed to be playing,
oh yeah,
is out, hard. And now you're in. No prep. I mean, I don't want to say no prep, but I don't think he thought that he was going in after that.
No.
That first period by Delia.
It's hard, man, when you're sitting for 20 minutes. It's actually longer than 20 minutes too. It's not. It's 20 game
like
minutes
hour.
plus. Yeah, exactly. And you're sitting there cold. That's what they say. You're going in cold, and that's truth. You're going in, haven't faced a shot. I thought he looked okay. I mean, the Preds are a good team. I mean, We hate them. I can't stand them. They're very boring. They play the 1-3-1. Which is super boring, but it's effective. That's how they get wins, and that's what they got to do. But I thought against the Flames, he played good. He made some big saves, maybe a couple where he probably should have stopped them. The last goal of the game, it was already out when they pulled him. Johnny Hockey, fired one. And maybe usually on a shot from the boards like that, I know Johnny Hockey's a great player. He's an elite player, but you those got to get stopped. You got to find a way to stop those. And, he just, like you said, he's young. I mean, do you remember when Crawford was called up, when we had, I believe it was Niemi and Hue were both out. Maybe it was the year before. But Crawford shut out the Ducks, I want to say, and they were the defending Stanley Cup champions. So it might have been 2009. And that was his first game. He shut them out. So that was a great sign. Obviously, look, he was a two-time Stanley Cup champion with us. Maybe give this kid another chance. The Flames are a good team. Let's see what he could do against, like a mid-team, maybe a little bit lower, and we can give him a better chance, better look. But I like to see, a couple more games with Soderblom. Definitely Delia. Let's stop this. Keep him down leave him down.
You know what? I'll be honest with you. I didn't notice Goudreau right until he scored that goal, man. I thought he was invisible the whole game, to be honest with you.
You know what, man? He's having a great season, though, and he's up for contract renewal. He's only making like 6.5 mil right now, I believe, or something close to that. And I know a lot of the Flames fans want him locked up, but I don't know who I was talking to, but if Jack Hughes is making $8 million, what do you think Johnny Hockey is going to be asking for? I think he's going to get double digits.
Really?
He's a good. I think so. Yeah, why not?
I wouldn't pay him double digits. To be honest with you,
he puts up numbers, man. He's putting up numbers.
At 6.5, I'm still kind of scratching my head on that guy.
I think he's going to get 10.
Really?
I think so, man.
Well, good for Calgary for overpaying for him.
Well,
hopefully Jack Hughes doesn't start this trend of, teams overpaying for players. I would put something out there saying, hey, if just because the Devils over there want to commit cap suicide doesn't mean the rest of the league needs to.
He's only 28. He's got 36 points in 30 games. He's a plus 21.
Only 28, dude. In 4 years, he might not even be in the league, depending on how the rest of his career goes.
I think he's kind of like a Kaner. He's just a really good skater. He sees the ice well. He puts up points, more assists. Playmakers are a dime a dozen. So
yeah,
I think he's going to last a while. I could see him signing maybe a 6-year deal at maybe 9-10, I think.
Oh, man. That's crazy.
He's got 530 points in 550 games played. That's pretty damn good.
Yeah, that's good. It's almost a point per game.
He's putting up numbers, man. I think he'll be a good player for the Flames. Maybe he'll go somewhere else. Maybe he'll leave for nothing.
Yeah.
He might want to play on a bigger market, like an American market. And he's an American kid. I believe he's from Philly or New Jersey even. Hopefully he doesn't go to Jersey. Well, hey, if he wants to get paid, he might
as well. I mean, they're Stanley Cup contenders this year, right?
Well, hey, if Jack Hughes, man, $8 million, maybe Johnny Hockey's going to ask for 16. I mean, 61 points over 530. That's what I would say. Hey, let's do the math here.
Let's do the math here. I'm a 16.5 million player.
Yeah, why not?
Using the Devil's algorithm there. So, what about Sean Moynihan, man? He's kind of dropped off, to be honest with you.
Dude, I haven't heard much about him in a while. I remember when it was him and Johnny Hockey's team, right?
Yeah.
And I still hear Johnny Hockey. I don't hear anything about Moynihan at all.
I saw Moynihan with his visor, all the way up. I don't know if he's trying to see the puck better or what have you, man. But
it's the rule. You gotta have it. Yeah.
No. What I mean is, just having it up all the way.
Yeah, he puts it up because he's. It's weird. I see that too. It's not like level. It's right. All the way up into the logo of the helmet. Yeah,
that kind of bugged me, to be honest with you. Could you imagine getting a puck to the face where the shield should be?
Are you a shield guy or like an Andrew Shaw type, like Ryan O'Reilly without the shield guy?
No, I'd go with the shield.
Really?
Even if I had the opportunity, I'd go with the shield because I'll tell you, with the way these guys are shooting the puck these days,
you don't want careless sticks too to the
careless
face.
Sticks. Yeah. You don't want to be taking those to the face.
Well, I played men's league for a while, and I didn't wear a shield, and I noticed my vision was way better. It actually, I liked it until, you take a puck to the side of the face. It hurts, but
yeah.
And then the wife made me put it back on, so I put it back on. But I got the cool Oakley one, which I don't see a lot of guys wearing those anymore. There's just like the Under Armour or Nike, whatever it is now.
Yeah.
Bauer, yeah. I like the Oakley, like Ovechkin, tinted one.
Those are the mirrored ones.
Like Hossa, he had like the nose cut.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. And then you had remember Jason Blake?
No.
His visor was like all the way down to his teeth. I'm like, what's the point of that, dude?
Yeah.
It just must fog up like crazy,
Yeah.
But,
I think that they put something on them, like defoggers or what have you.
Yeah, I used to. My dad put you know how Patrick Y used to wear that
the neck thing?
shield? Yeah. My dad, he made me wear one, and I hated it because you look down, it's fogged up from my breath. And I guess he bought this spray, and he's like, "This is gonna help you." I'm like, "This ain't doing nothing, man. I can't see." So I ended up taking it off, and I got the Eddie Belfour Cooper
neck thing,
neck guard. Yeah,
and
I liked it. Yeah, I liked it. It was
That's
cool.
what I would have done too if I was a goalie. That's cool. Man.
Now they're built into the chest protectors, but I used to have it used to hang down to my pretty much my belly button, the whole neck guard. That's how big it was. But it was cool, man. I like that. That was smart. They were ahead of their time.
So, Matthew Tkachuk, man, I think that he might be taking the next step in his game. I think that he's noticeable. I haven't seen too much of his antics this year. Before he used to be more of a pest and agitating guys, and I haven't seen too much of that out of him this year. And his production is up. What about you?
Yeah, I haven't heard much about him either. I know him and Doughty have every time they play, they have issues, which is actually very entertaining.
Yeah, but, they do.
He's putting up good numbers. He's got 28 points in 30 games. I think he's got 15 or 14 goals, and that's what you want out of your guy. And that's definitely, I would say it's him and Johnny Hockey's team now. And Markstrom, he's a good goalie. He doesn't, get as much. Good. He's not getting a lot of praise Jack Campbell is right now, and Vasilevsky, obviously, but he's up there, man. I think the Flames are gonna be good, man. They're well coached, and they found their identity, which was huge.
Right. And Daryl Sutter, I think, can be credited to that. Markstrom, I'm not sure if you noticed in the game against the Blackhawks, but he tracks the puck very well. He moves side to side, and he seems to not have a problem tracking the puck.
And he's a big boy. And,
he is.
Hey, Vancouver let him go, and I was very surprised by that. But Thatcher Demko's, look at Bruce Boudreau. I think he's 7-0-1 since jumping into the Vancouver head coach. But back to Markstrom, man, he's 12-6. I think he's got 5 shutouts, man, which is pretty freaking impressive in this day and age, because you got so many talented goal scorers. I mean, he's playing in the same division as Connor McDavid, and they're finding a way, man. It's good to see. It's good to see the Flames coming back. I mean, we kind of put them away, I thought, when the Hawks were up and coming. We kind of buried Jerome McGinley, Mika Kippersoft, and Alex Tanguay. They were we're going to roll these young Hawks, and the Hawks just walked all over them, and that was it for them. And then you haven't heard much from them, and they're kind of bouncing back, and I feel like this is their year. Oli Oh, yeah. From Florida, right? Jokinen.
Oh, Oli Jokinen. That's
Jokinen.
Right.
Yeah, that guy, his face just bugged me. He was a bad guy from James Bond movies, The blank stare. Yeah.
He had a big head, too. Did you see the way the helmet fit him? It was
Mike
almost
Camilleri. Yeah. He was from Florida. I think they got him from Florida in a trade, and they were like, "Oh, they're going to make a run this year." And, they run into the Hawks, and I think Havlat had a great series, and we buried him that year, 2009.
So the Hawks are going to be moving on to the Avalanche tomorrow. And that's going to be a big game for them, man, because they need to, another thing about the Calgary game before I get into this Colorado game, because this is something that needs to be cleared up from the last game, and I thought that it was that there was a ton of odd man opportunities versus Calgary. I don't know what it was, but while Colin was playing, Colin was coaching. That's all we had were odd man opportunities. Derek King came in, and it seemed like they stopped completely. Yesterday, we were getting a lot of odd man breaks. Well, we're giving up a lot of odd man breaks, and I'm not sure what it was. If it's a defensive pairing, Riley Stillman wasn't playing. I don't know why. I'm done with Gustafsson playing. To be honest with you, I know that they want him quarterbacking the. Actually, they had him quarterbacking the power play 1 unit, and they took Seth Jones off of that unit and put him on the power play 2. I don't know why.
He caused the shorthanded goal with his lack of hustling and just feeling like he's coasting, and Calgary jumped all over that.
He got tripped, but still, I think that he was badly out of position.
I think he didn't think they were, sometimes you got a guy coming in to put pressure on you and they kind of spin off. And I think Gustafsson thought that, hey, he's just going to do a flyby on me and I'll set up, but they didn't. They buried us with that shorthanded goal, and that pretty much, that costed us the game.
Yeah, I agree. So that needs to be cleaned up. I don't see why Riley Stillman is a healthy scratch. He's playing consistent every single game. He should be in there. Caleb Jones had a pretty decent game yesterday. I mean, if they absolutely need to, are we just playing Gustafsson just to play him? I mean, we're paying him $800,000. Is that really?
No, I
don't see why he's consistently in the lineup. So what needs to get cleaned up by this Colorado game is the odd man opportunities that we were giving up versus Calgary. They're gonna need to tighten it up defensively against this Colorado team. And you know what? We're just gonna need to pepper them. We haven't had problems putting shots on net the past couple games, which is good. But we need to start converting. Kubalik, I'm kind of borderline ready for this guy to get healthy scratched and get somebody else in there because he's just not producing. He's not producing in any way.
Well, I think it's pretty much the whole offense except the Brinkat right now. I mean, we need, like I said, we have one guy in double-digit goals, and it's the Brinkat. The closest guy, I believe, is Hagel with 9, and that can't happen. We got Taves, we got Kane. I mean, Kubalik was a former 30-goal guy. He's got to start putting some in. I think Dylan Strome was showing some shades of, when we first got him, he was putting up numbers, and he's inconsistent again, and he's taking some really stupid penalties. I don't know if you've seen that, taking a couple tripping penalties, and they were kind of weak calls, but still, we can't be taking penalties because we're giving up a lot of power play goals too against. But yeah, man, the problem is we need these guys to start scoring goals, and it can't just be DeBrincat. We need Kaner to step up. We need Taser to step up. We need guys we got to start putting them on net. And you know what? We need our goalies to be healthy, our 2 starting goalies, because Nashville showed us, hey, we're not even close to being a playoff team. Skating with these guys. And I know it was Delia and net and the young kid, but still, we didn't look like we were ready to play the last 2 games. So hopefully against the Avalanche, it's a wake-up call, because this team will bury you alive with goals if you do not show up to play.
Yeah, and I'm curious to see what team shows up to play. Is it the Colorado Avalanche that started the season, or is it the highly favorited, Stanley Cup contender? Because it's been a tale of 2 cities over there. And, I'm just curious of what's going to happen. It's going to be definitely a big wake-up call for the Hawks because, I think that Calgary is they're a very good team this year. They're not the Colorado Avalanche that have been good for the past few years consistently, but as an up-and-coming team, I think that Calgary has been doing a phenomenal job this year. How are the Hawks going to do against Calgary? To be honest with you, it's 50-50. They could play tight and make it an interesting game, or, they could start giving up odd man opportunities and, give up a goal within the first 30 seconds, which, sucks because then
trend. Yeah.
From the beginning of the game, you're playing behind. So Marc-Andre Fleury, he's out of COVID protocol. I don't know what kind of shape he's in. I'm not sure what kind of, what kind of experience he had with COVID, because some guys, they're like, yeah, it wasn't bad, just had a runny nose and that's it. And then other dudes, they're having some other issues. So hopefully he didn't have too bad of a time with COVID and he can get right back into it.
Yeah, I think he can. I didn't hear anything serious from him. I mean, if it was serious, I'm sure we would be hearing all about it, and he probably wouldn't even be starting. So that's a good thing. But I did get a couple minutes of the game in with the Ducks and Avalanche yesterday, and Nathan MacKinnon took over the third period. Man, he got 3 assists and buried the Ducks. I believe the score was 4-2, but the Ducks were up for a while, 2-1, and I don't know what it was, but Nathan MacKinnon showed up to play. Must have had everybody eating the right meals before the game, and they finished strong. And the Ducks are a good team too, man. They very overlooked team. I know me and you overlooked them. I know everybody overlooked them because they're young. And Ryan Getzlaf's getting older, but he's having a great season. But back to the Avalanche, I think we could skate with them if Fleury stands on his head tomorrow. I mean, pretty much the rest of the season, he's got to stand on his head because our offense is not there right now. And hopefully they figure it out, but we're going to need our goaltending to step up extra coming these next couple games.
Yeah, I agree, man. We've got Colorado coming up, and then we've got Arizona coming up. That Arizona's a little feisty, but I think I would like to see Soderblom in that game just to give him an opportunity against a team that I would say isn't as not competitive, but I would say isn't as established as Calgary is, just to see where he's at.
Yeah, I would like to see it too. I know there's some good players on Florida. They're going to rebuild, start from scratch, it looks like. But
or Arizona.
They got. Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah, Phoenix Coyotes. I don't call them Arizona Coyotes, but
okay.
Phoenix Coyotes. Yeah, they're obviously in last place. Actually, yeah, they are in last place. I think in the West they are last. In the East, it's the Islanders, which is pretty
incredible.
Crazy. Pretty crazy. I'm my Stanley Cup pick. I look stupid, but
we both do.
Yeah, I would like him to get that start. You never know, but if the Hawks want to be serious content or make a push for a playoff spot, they need wins, and that's a team they have to beat. And if they did lose to the Coyotes, that would be very bad. So,
do you think the Hawks should maybe invest even more defensively into their system now, considering they're having a hard time scoring goals?
Yeah, I think they should. We know Fleury is going to play good. We know Lankinen, he's solid. But, I mean, I think we need a good mix of both, because if you got the puck longer than the other team, they're not going to have that many, shots. We've seen this with our dynasty teams. We were a puck possession team. I don't think anyone on this team except Kane and maybe Seth Jones has the skill to pretty much skate the ice and hold the puck long. I don't see any other guys that have that talent. So they might have to, play chippy and kind of like Nashville Predator hockey. I mean, if you want to be successful, you got to buy into that. And I think we got guys that think they could, like Dylan Strome. He probably thinks he's real skilled and he can do that kind of stuff, like the old school Hawks, but he can't really. I think Dylan Strome is a third line guy, in my opinion. I don't think he's going to go anywhere higher than that in his career if he continues to play this way. So, yeah, I think I'd like to see the Hawks get a meaner defenseman, but I don't see it happening until, we have an official GM with a plan and maybe a new head coach next year. But I don't think the Hawks are going to do much. Do you?
I have no idea, man. To be honest with you, things could be turned upside down and on their head, as you could see with the Islanders. I mean, we obviously couldn't predict the Islanders being in last place in the East Coast. I don't know what to say anymore.
I don't know. I don't know what they're going to do either. I don't think they're going to sell. I think they're just going to kind of ride it out, and hopefully they get on a little hot streak. But it's going to be very hard. And I know Pittsburgh, they're quietly they're on a 8-game winning streak that no one really talks about. No one talks about that.
Yeah,
and
I haven't even heard about that.
Yeah, and they're saying that Jari, the goalie, he's like he's like a top 5 goalie in the league right now. And I remember watching last year in the playoffs. I'm like, this guy's not a top 5 goalie in the NHL. And
Right.
I mean, he's got to prove it in the playoffs first, for me at least. I don't watch a lot of Pittsburgh Penguin hockey, but when I did last year, the Islanders just torched him. So we'll see, man. There's some crazy storylines going on. Look at the Rangers. They're absolutely tearing it up right now. And I know the Breadman's out with COVID issues now, but they're still playing good. They have a Vezina-like goalie who I didn't look at Shesterkin as a Vezina-like guy. I mean, some of these clubs are just so lucky. They have Lundqvist for the last 15 years. Then they get these 2 new kids that are pretty damn good too, and it's just a nice problem. It's like the Packers with Brett Favre and right to Aaron Rodgers is like, geez, give me a break. That Hall of Fame guys back to back. It's
like 30
insane.
30 years of Hall of Fame quarterbacks.
Yeah, 2 quarterbacks in the last 30 years, and the Bears have had at least 40?
50.
It's insane.
So, quick news around the NHL. The Stars have 10 players removed from protocol, which is incredible because we have teams that are having to deal with these issues with having a ton of guys in protocol. And it looks like, hopefully they can start getting back on track soon. Talbot's out indefinitely for the Wild with an injury. We got the Matthews leads the 3 stars of the month. I'm not really surprised. He's been having a great year so far.
So what do you think about the Winter Classic?
Did you watch it? No.
You know what? It was cool. I watched it. I just it was a little too much with the media for me, saying how cold it was.
Oh yeah, that's all I heard about it.
It's like, yes, we know. It's Minnesota. It's January. It's cold. We know. They just kept going on and on about how cold it was. And then they're asking guys, intermission. So how is it out there? And their beards are frozen. They're like icicles. It's cold. So it's like, okay, let's move on. It was a good game. The Blues they tore it up. They're back, man. I think the Blues are back to their Stanley Cup form. Was that 2017? They're a scary team. I think the Blues are going to go far, man. I really do. Yeah.
Yeah, I predicted them to be pretty decent, but I didn't predict them to go far.
I think the way that they're playing right now, they could win the Central, I think. And Minnesota's a good team. I know that Billy Guerin's building something good there. They got Kaprizov. He had a nice banking goal in the Winter Classic. But for me, Talbot down, their goalie, they're not that scary to me in the playoffs. Not at all.
Well, cool. The U.S. announces the women's 22 Olympic team, which should be exciting. So we will be getting some hockey, some Canada versus U.S. hockey.
Kendall Coyne,
women's.
yeah,
Kendall Coyne,
yep.
Amanda Kessel, who else?
Phil too.
Hillary Knight. It's funny, man. Amanda and Phil, you could tell they're brother and sister, man. They have the same teeth.
You know what, man? Getting back to Phil though, he's gonna end up on a playoff contending team this year, dude. And someone's gonna get a first round pick, the Coyotes are gonna get a first round pick, but someone's gonna give up a first round pick for this guy. Wouldn't you like to have this guy on your team? He won 2 cups with Pittsburgh. He's a good shooter, man, and he can still move. He can move for a little butterball, And
he's still pretty fast, man. He used to be really fast.
He gets like a bad rep from Toronto. I don't know why. I mean, obviously they didn't win there with him, but he's still a good player.
When was the last person who won with Toronto?
I know, but they like hated on him for some reason, and it's like, come on, dude. It was not just Phil Kessel's fault. But he goes to Pittsburgh and wins 2 cups, and him and Malkin had some great chemistry together.
He was instrumental on those teams.
He was a big part of that team. I think someone's going to go for him, and that team's going to be very lucky to have a guy like him. He's a playoff guy. I would definitely like him on my team.
Yeah, I would too.
If I'm a contender, if I'm trying to get over that hump, maybe even like the Rangers or even Vegas. I know Vegas won't have any cap space because I know Jack Eichel's going to be back soon, but that's a guy I would want on my line. A guy who could fly and just fire it.
Right. Well, cool, man. All right, everybody, that's all that we got for you tonight. Thank you for listening. We're very, very appreciative. We head into the new year. This is year 2 for the Chicago Tomahawk. We closed out our first year, obviously, on December 31st. About 87 podcasts we did last year. We're going to see how many we can do this year. And thank you for everyone who's come on the ride with us, everyone who's contributed. And we're very, very appreciative. And we're going to keep going. This is a Tomahawk, and we're out of here.